or after 36 races, is there somebody whose stock precipitously went up in your mind?
Oh, man, it's such a hard question because, you get to this time of year and all you think about are the point standings and who won the championship and who didn't. I'll take some low-hanging fruit here, and honestly, I do think Tyler Reddick's stock rose for a lot of different reasons. Number one, this was his first Championship 4 appearance, and I think that's a big thing. But you go back to that summer stretch, which started with a fourth-place finish in the Coca-Cola 600, and for like the next 14 races, had one finish in double digits. I mean, it was incredible what he was able to put together, but not only that part of the season, but he also proved to everyone that when it comes to a clutch moment, he can deliver. And I think that's what our playoffs favor. You have to be able to perform in the big moments, and he did that when he won at Homestead-Miami Speedway to get into the Championship 4.
I actually also have that written down in my notes here. I have Tyler, and for all of the reasons that Brad just said, but for another really big reason, and that's that Team 2311 is only in the 4th year of their existence. And I think to make it all the way to the Final Four and to do it, in the way that Tyler did, is a huge statement for such for a team, really still in its infancy. So I think that is a big storyline too.
I guess, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Alex Bowman.
Bowman, yep.
One, they should have been in the playoffs if they don't get carried away and cheat themselves out of a playoff spot. And I felt like that team was getting better as the season went on. And that's got to be tough because Alex is the least of the star-studded Constellation members at Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah.
But yet they continued to kind of grind. And toward the end, I felt like I got a little bit of momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. I have 2 other drivers written on my sheet here. One, I don't know if you could say his stock rose because I'm pretty sure he started the season at 0 as far as stock is concerned, and that's Carson Hocevar because he started as a rookie. But I think he did outkick his coverage a little bit when it comes to the season. He won Rookie of the Year. He had some very, very bright moments, and I would say that is somebody who I think stock is definitely on the rise. And then Austin Cindric, who he really, really needs his stock to be on the rise. When you look at the fact that his 2 teammates are 2 former champions in the last 2 seasons, that kind of puts a big spotlight on him. Like, hey, Roger wants another one and it's your turn. Now, I don't say for sure that that's in his future, at least not in his near future, but he, I think, is making gains. His average finish in 2023 was 21.6, and in 2024, just marginally better at 19.9. He had that win at Gateway. However, he won it. It's still a win in the win column. And I think he's making gains. That team is making gains for sure. So I think his stock is definitely on the rise.
I think by listening to all of us, though, there was no runaway favorite.
No, there wasn't. There really wasn't.
Is that a fair statement? That
Yeah, I think so, too. And I love your Alex Bowman pick. I was thinking the same because if you think about the last 2 seasons, he missed races due to injuries, one for a concussion at Texas a couple of years ago. 2023, he had the sprint car accident that took him out of 3 races, and I feel like this year he actually finally got back to where he was before that first injury. But one more that jumps out at me, and we might be mentioning his name in this same conversation next year, and that's Chase Briscoe. Again, a clutch win, literally in the last moment to make the playoffs at Darlington. But you look at how the season went, and as soon as Martin Truex Jr. announced that, hey guys, I'm not coming back full time next year, they quickly scooped up Chase Briscoe, and I think there were a lot of things that he did to really carry Stewart-Haas Racing on his back, through the first, maybe 4 playoffs races or so, and then things kind of, went a little bit south for him, but I think it's pretty admirable what he did, and next year when he goes to Joe Gibbs Racing, there's the potential that he could be that runaway driver that we didn't have this year.
Yeah, winning for a lame duck org had to be kind of tough. Let's go to the other side of the slate here. And I think Alexis just used the phrase outkick their coverage. This team did not outkick their coverage, but fell below expectations. If it's a stock, you've already dumped it.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say I've dumped this stock per se, but I will say I'm certainly looking at it pretty hard. And, I know how when you say this person's name, it evokes a lot of emotions from a lot of people. He is our most popular driver, but I'm going to say Chase Elliott. And the reason why is because when you look at him juxtaposed to his teammates. Maybe not Alex Bowman. I'd say him and Alex are probably on par, at least in the win column. Both of them only have one win in the last 2 seasons. While Kyle Larson has 10 wins in the last 2 seasons, and William Byron has 9 wins in the last 2 seasons. I think we expect more of Chase, and that's why you think of him in this instance when you say, okay, well, over the last 2 seasons, he's only visited victory lane 1 time. I'm expecting him to be a multiple-time winner every season. And because he hasn't done that as of late, I feel like his stock is a little bit on the decline.
Wow. Chase Elliott on the down low. You can buy him for pennies on the dollar. Brad Gillie.
There's a couple to me. I would say another season without a trip to victory lane for Bubba Wallace is a really tough one. I think, especially when you consider that you have a teammate who literally had the best summer out of any driver by far in the Cup Series and made the championship 4. I think that is a disappointment that they were shut out once again and did not make a trip to victory lane. Another one that really comes to mind, and this is a weird compliment in a way, that the expectation is there because it was at the beginning of the year, and that's Ty Gibbs. And I know he's not hit that 100 race mark yet that they say you got to wait till you get your first win. He's at 87, but we started the season, and that was almost an inevitability, and it didn't get better. It went the other way. But I think the expectation is still there that his talent is going to be enough. It just wasn't realized this year.
I like the fact that Brad said he used the universal they said.
They said, yeah.
My mother always told me that they is the devil.
They is the devil.
Because where are you going? Well, the guys say, they say we're going over here. And she goes, that means they is the devil because you're just following them along because you're going to go get in trouble. So,
Yep.
you were going to say.
Well, yes, and not they. Just me. I was going to mention Kyle Busch. We've looked at Kyle Busch and what has happened to him since he has gone over to Richard Childress Racing. I think when you look at the fact that in 23 he had 3 wins, and in 24 he was chasing another season to keep that streak alive of 1 win a season and wasn't able to accomplish that. But not only that, I felt like, we broadcast a lot of the races, and I feel like a lot of times when we're doing a broadcast, we don't even mention his name. And that's because that team is struggling and not up to where we expect Kyle Busch to be, as one of the winningest drivers in the sport and a past champion.
Yep. We've looked at Kyle from both sides now, from give and take, and still we've found that there's a lot of illusion right there.
Yeah.
There is. I love Brad's Bubba Wallace because I thought Bubba would be in the Elite 8 this year.
Yep.
Nowhere near it. Didn't even crack the playoffs. And I think you have to throw Truex in there too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's with a power organization. He's with Gibbs, and he had a couple of shots, but I don't know. I felt like at the second half of the year, it was like, let's just get this over with.
Yeah, and I think, we've said it before, and I believe we said it last week or maybe the week before, when you get into that retirement year.
Yeah, boy. You're coast.
Yeah.
You don't do any work at all.
I mean, Doug, you know all about that.
I have been in neutral for 6 months.
6 months?
Come on, Brad. Give me a couple. I acted like I was working at the first of the year.
Oh, okay.
But your brain turns off.
Well, you start looking ahead to all the things that are, out of your initial view.
Yeah.
And that makes it hard for you to focus on what is right in front of you,
For me being my retirement year, the wasn't the last race call in Vegas. It was when I started taking stuff out of my office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I went like, oh, this really got real.
Yeah.
And now I don't know where to put all that stuff.